You know what I've realised after a few hundred tactical RPGs? It's not the goblins, or the undead, or the eldritch horrors that get you, it's your budget. Maybe your healer's out of mana, your fortress walls are held up with optimism and plywood, and you just spent your last gold upgrading Barry the Bowman's boots to no avail. Tactical RPGs are about clever positioning, risk management, logistics, and regretting every decision you made about 3 hours ago. And honestly, I love it. Hello everyone, my name is Tom and this is LT Gaming, where we take a slower, more thoughtful look at strategy games, RPGs, and the kind of indie gems that are just doing something special. Today's video is sponsored by Arc Games, the team behind Frosthaven, a digital adaptation of the legendary board game that doesn't just throw you into tactical battles, but asks how well can you manage a settlement when winter never ends and everything wants you dead. It's rich, punishing, and properly strategic. It's the kind of game that's inspired this whole list. If Frosthaven looks like your kind of thing, click the link in the description to check it out, and also help support the channel as well. So here are 16 tactical RPGs that do exactly that. Deep combat, smart progression, and strategic layers that keep you up at night. If you like this kind of thoughtful strategy content, give the video a like, help us on that YouTube algorithm. Maybe subscribe if you feel we've earned it, and comment below with your favourite tactical gems. I'm always on the hunt for my next obsession. Alright, let's go. First up is Frosthaven, and yes, this is deliberate, not just because Arc Games are sponsoring today's video, but because this one genuinely nails the strategic and tactical blend we're here to celebrate. Here's why. It's tough, and yes, it is also rewarding. This is a game where when your healer runs out of cards, and your outpost might as well be held together with hope and a bit of wood, each decision, even pulling a single card, could cost or make your whole campaign. Combat is card driven and positional, where stamina and hand management are your greatest enemies. But the real meat lies between the battles. You return to your weather scarred outpost, upgrading buildings, crafting gear, tending to the wounded, and making decisions that echo through the campaign. It's a legacy style progression in a frozen world. Frosthaven launched into early access with around 35 quests so far, but the full game aims for a hefty 130 plus in total. Feedback is not shy, users are calling it a thrill and regret cocktail, where a single misplay or bad draw can leave your squad in ruins, and I've experienced this firsthand. The digital version isn't just a faithful board game adaptation, it's a system with tutorials, a story mode for some gentler entry, and visual clarity that runs the labyrinth of rules into something approachable. In short, Frosthaven is a test of foresight, planning, and of course grit. When it does click, there is no finer feeling in tactical RPGs. Next up is Shardpunk, a lean pixel art roguelike that perfectly encapsulates that tactics, survival, and resource headache that we're chasing. Think Xcom meets Darkest Dungeon, but you're on the run from rats. Yes, that's right, rats. Steampunk vermin with a grudge. Turn-based combat demands that you keep moving, you linger too long, and the swarm overwhelms you. You scavenge for scraps along the way, then race to a safe house to heal, craft, and prepare for the next wave. Reviews are positive on this one, with around 94% positive reviews since release, and that's pretty generous for a sassy indie. It isn't a sprawling campaign. One run is about 5 or 6 hours, but each character and upgrade choice can twist how the chaos unfolds. In a nutshell, it's tough, tense, and tight. If Frosthaven is a full winter siege, Shardpunk is the gritty, claustrophobic crawl in the sewers beneath. Streamlined, brutal, and oddly charming. Renowned Explorers might look like a cheerful cartoon, but it's hiding a clever, choice-driven tactical RPG underneath. You build a crew of eccentric adventurers and head off on procedurally generated expeditions, gathering loot, fame, and questionable artifacts. The twist here is that you don't just attack enemies, you befriend, insult, or outwit them using a mood-based system that plays out something like a rock, paper, scissors. Go friendly, aggressive, or devious, and your choices affect how the world reacts to you. Between runs you upgrade gear, unlock perks, and plan your next campaign. Like any good tactical RPG, it punishes poor decisions with just enough charm to pull you back in. It's witty, replayable, and genuinely strategic beneath the smiles. This is a proper gem if you like your tactics with a bit of fun and personality. Netherguild is one of those rare indie gems that's flown under the radar, but absolutely deserves a look if you're into tactical planning and resource driven tension. It's a turn-based dungeon crawler where you send out expeditions underground to find a cure for a mysterious plague. No spells and dragons here, just grit, exhaustion, and careful supply management. There's no RNG to your attacks, you hit every time. but you'd still be sweating the details, food choices, torch placement, party loadouts, and whether you brought enough meds to get everyone back alive. Between dives, you manage your roster and prep for the next run. It's compact and carefully balanced, and with 95% positive on Steam, it looks very good, yet it is barely talked about. Netherguild might not make the headlines, but for fans of smart, punishing strategy, this one's a proper hidden gem. Sunderfolk is a cozy game night style of game where everyone brings their own quirks and then your phones as controllers. Launched in April 25 by Secret Door, this is made up of ex-Blizzard people. It's a turn-based tactical RPG built for up to 4 players. It all uses a single copy, no extra copies needed. You scan a QR code and your phone becomes your character sheet, your hand of cards and control hub. Combat leans on positioning, fate-drawn decks and strategic synergy. You can fling, trap or burn your way through imaginative maps, just like a tabletop RPG, but without the setup and hassle. Post-battle, you return to your home hub where you upgrade vendors, forge relationships and prep for your next mission. Players are absolutely loving this one. Steam shows 94% very positive reviews, and recent feedback is even more glowing. So if you're into tactical RPGs that you want to play with your friends, Sunderfolk is your ticket here. Battle Brothers is like running a medieval version of the Expendables, where each squad member has a sub-story, low pay and a questionable tooth count. You lead a mercenary company across a procedurally generated low fantasy world, picking contracts, raiding bandits and ruins, managing camp logistics between your skirmishes. Combat is brutal and of course tactical, with terrain, morale and exhaustion, and permadeath turning every fight into a nail biter. The real brainworks comes into the strategy layer. You juggle recruitment, equipment, food, injuries and the sheer cost of keeping your brothers alive. Released in 2017, Battle Brothers has stayed remarkably alive. Steam reviews have it at 88%, very positive, and devs keep dropping fresh updates. It's punishing, unglamorous and utterly absorbing. A tactical RPG where survival often hinges having the right shield or knowing when to cut your losses. Exceptional. The Battle for Wesnoth is one of those endurance runners in the tactical RPG space. Free, open source and still going strong nearly 2 decades after launch. It's a hex-based fantasy battle simulator where controlling villages equals more gold and terrain. Time of day and weather play as big a role as your units or equipment, plus you level up your units that carry over throughout your campaign, so you get a real connection to your roster. What's more impressive is the community support, with 17 built-in solo campaigns, loads more made by users, and a built-in editor for crafting of your own. The content keeps growing. Steam reviews reflect its longevity well, very positive, around 94%, and of course it's free to play. Wesnoth is for those who appreciate an enduring, clever classic, strong, strategic and built to last. Xcom Enemy Unknown is the game that brought tactical RPGs roaring back into the mainstream. You don't just fight aliens, you're managing a global resistance, building facilities, researching tech, balancing panic levels, and of course sending your increasingly traumatized squad into harm's way. What keeps this one alive is the modding scene now. Mods like the Long War don't just tweak numbers, they rebuild the entire experience, adding new classes, weapons, enemy variants, and making the decisions harder and heavier. In 2025, the modded versions might as well be the definitive way to play. With a 93% very positive rating on Steam and a decade's worth of strategic depth behind it, Xcom isn't just a classic, it's the living benchmark. Meet Tactical Breach Wizards, the game that feels like someone took Xcom and dipped it in some absurd humour. You'll command a squad of magically inclined misfits, storm witches, necromedics, time seers, each with delightfully absurd powers. Unlike most tactics games, it's not about losing troops, it's about learning by rewinding. You can undo every move until the last possible moment, and levels reward experimentation with optional objectives and combo creativity. The writing is an absolute highlight, sharp, self-aware, and it doesn't undermine the emotional beats. This has been dubbed a genuinely intriguing espionage thriller, and Steam reviews reflect that, 98% positive overall. If you love tactical puzzles with personality, freedom to experiment, and a story that's cheeky, then this is for you. Next on this list is Wartales, where you're not just a destined hero, but you're a manager of a band of hungry mercenaries wrestling with payroll, stale rations, and the occasional existential dread. This open world squad based RPG blends turn based combat with survival logistics, foraging, crafting, recruiting pros like blacksmiths and cooks, and camping between fights to keep your mercs from deserting and just utterly buggering off. No bullets, no spells, just sword, strategy, and making sure you can afford food and horses. It's pretty grim, it's emergent, and it'll chew up your evenings without an apology. There's more on the horizon as the upcoming contract, the Fief DLC, which will introduce actual fiefdom building, raising districts, managing laws, handling factions, and balancing prosperity with your control on the throne. Yes, it's Wartales, but with proper fortresses, and it will land in September this year. Next up is Kenshi, a merciless sandbox where no one is the hero, you're just a scrap of leather in a world that doesn't care. You build your squad from nothing, literally starting with the clothes on your back, and eventually you might grow into a fortress builder or some sort of warlord if you can get there. This isn't a hand-holding RPG, it's open-ended, really brutal, and full of emergent moments like crafting prosthetics, fending off starvation, managing slavery politics in the wasteland, and the map is huge as well. It's a labour of love built mostly by one developer over 12 years, and it's shifted over 2.3 million copies with an enduring player devotion to it. With a 95% overwhelmingly positive reviews, you can see that as well. Kenshi is a true blend of tactical RPG and base building. Scavenge, build, defend, train and adapt. Shards of the Realm is the kind of title that makes tactical RPG fans nod in quiet appreciation. A near unknown title, solo developed, and it's brimming with both strategic heft and combat finesse. You manage turn-based tactical battles and fortress building in one package. There's no dice rolled hits, just physical projectiles, directional armor, destructible cover, and environmental tactics that demand your smart positioning. It's in early access since October 24, and it already offers a lot of content. It has multi-classing crafting, research trees, and a living world where factions rise and fall. With barely any reviews, but they're still positive, this one is niche. It's for players craving something mechanical, thoughtful, and unpolished in all the right ways, and it's a proper hidden gem. Let's talk Halcyon 6 next, a retro pixel sci-fi strategy RPG, bit of a mouthful there, but this one practically invites Xcom and FTL to a party and it's super awkward. You're reclaiming a derelict starbase amid alien invasion. You're clearing rooms, gathering resources and building ships and managing your futuristic staff. There's turn-based combat both on foot and in space, there's research trees, emergent story events and strange alien factions to wrestle with. The latest Lightspeed edition was released in 2017 and it streamlined the campaign, refreshed the UI and lent the whole thing a sharper pace. Reviews are good, with 80% very positive rating on Steam, but some do find the late game a bit repetitive, but most are praising the charm, resource planning and tactical depth. If you're looking for polished, quirky and still a little bit underground, this one should be for you. Cybernight's Flashpoint is a stealth tactics gem that's absolutely worth the spotlight. Arguably, I think it's underappreciated despite some genuinely clever genre blending. Released fully this year, this is a cyberpunk turn-based tactics RPG that puts you in the underworld of shadowy heists, multi-stage missions and morally flexible contracts. You manage every detail, from building your crew and crafting your gear, to breaking into vaults or knocking out the cameras before drawing too much heat. Base building here is stripped back but sharp, and fans and critics have warmed up to the system's depth on this one. In short, Cybernight's Flashpoint isn't just tactical, it's thoughtful, emerging, and a proper stealth tactics contender that deserves a lot more love than it gets. Gloomhaven's digital version feels like stepping into a legend, one of the most acclaimed tactical board games brought to life with all its unforgiving charm intact. It's a faithful adaptation of the tabletop epic, a 95 scenario campaign, 17 unique classes, branching narratives, and a beautiful, brutal card system. Your turns are puzzles and every rest burns a card forever, so if you mismanage things, even your strongest heroes will crumble. There's solo, co-op and even a roguelike guildmaster mode, and with expansions like Jewels of the Lion and Soul Scenarios, it's a complete tactician's dream. And if Gloomhaven is the brutal methodical foundation, then Frosthaven, its successor, builds upon that legacy with a deeper settlement layer, seasonal shifts and a campaign that's just as punishing, only a little bit colder. Let's ride into King Arthur Knight's Tale next, a dark tactical RPG that's just cunning enough to feel like a proper hidden gem in the vein of strategy storytelling. You play as Mordred, resurrected in a twisted Avalon where King Arthur has become a tyrant. Between turn-based battles, you're also rebuilding Camelot, upgrading facilities, managing knights, and then you send them off on quests that can shake up your roster. The combat leans into clear, deliberate decisions, cover, positioning, opportunity attacks, with smart mechanics like armor that regenerates and vitality that requires downtime to heal. It also looks pretty good and is pretty polished overall. In short, King Arthur Knight's Tale delivers a strategy-rich Arthurian legend where building your base and managing your court are just as vital as the swordplay. Properly compelling here.